And your brain, we have the reticular activating system, and what it is when you start getting intentional about what it is that you want, writing it down, and really focusing your mind on it over and over again, it starts noticing patterns. There's patterns and things happening around us right now, all the time. And so it starts picking up on that, and you're using a lot of brain power for a lot of other things. But when you start to move your mind into a space where you're thinking new thoughts and you're overriding that emotional fear, this is when things get really interesting. Because if your thoughts are more powerful than the emotion, that's where you really create change. Yeah. So I'm so big on getting clear on your vision, literally closing your eyes and running it as a mental rehearse in your head. All achievement first begins in the theater of your mind, right? Yeah. So going over it and over it again in your mind really starts priming your mind. And the thing is, your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're visualizing within your mind. It's just reacting to it, right? So if I'm here really going through the programs in my mind over and over again, it starts to actually teach the body to follow. So you start moving. I remember when I got really clear with my vision, sometimes I'll get this feeling and I'm unconsciously picking up on it. Our unconscious is picking up billions of bits of data all the time and sifting through things that are important and not. It's picks up on it, and I start honing in and going hey, and connecting with people I never would have connected with before, but I had all this feeling within me that to go and connect. And that's because the unconscious is getting on board with the dreams that my conscious has created to go, cool, let's do this as a team. Yeah. Because if you're not creating something for your unconscious and your conscious to work together as a team, all it's going to serve you is fear to keep you in the comfortable. Yeah, to keep you small while you want to act big. Well, for survival reasons, because it thinks if you're going to put yourself out there, check this out, this is how crazy the brain is. So if I think that if I put let's say some content out on social media, someone judges it, what do I make that mean? It means I'm not good enough, right? If I'm not good enough, that means I'm not loved. If I'm not loved, I'm not cared for. If I'm not cared for, I'm not nurtured. If I'm not nurtured, I'm not fed. If I'm not fed, I will starve, and if I starve, I will die. That's a survival mode. That's literally how your brain thinks, your unconscious thinks. It's trying to keep you into safety all the time. So yeah, it's really important to be in the practice of consciously choosing things, because then you can start overriding it. It's you start parenting your subconscious mind and saying, yeah, I know you feel like this right now, but is that true? Is that even a fact right now? Or are you just making something up to try and keep me safe? True. And this is a lifelong practice. There's nothing that I can say that I fully mastered. I go through my own things myself. I have my moments where I feel anxiety, and there's moments where I feel an overwhelm of excitement and kind of jump the gun and get irrational. And so there are times where we really got to practice it. And I really believe that so much of the magic happens in the uncomfortable zone. Yeah. And I invite myself in there as often as possible. I go to the fear, and I know that every time I've done that, something great has come from it. I've stretched and I've expanded within myself and within my mind. Yeah. I just actually read the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, which is a great book, by the way. Great, yeah. What I notice with a lot of my coaching clients is in their subconscious, they have certain patterns that they don't see. Conscious, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's a good idea. But then subconscious, they have this pattern that keeps on coming back. And until you go into that subconscious and try to change it, which needs action, and what you're saying is rewiring the brain, which is so powerful, that's where long-term change is going to happen, right? Yeah absolutely.